Fortnite finally added mobility, but it was only for the last season. They did, however, make a very big change, which I think will have a huge impact on the game going forward. We got to see Clix versus Peterbot 2.0 off spawn in the last tournament, and it got very, very messy. I also want to talk about what's going on with the new season, what tournaments we're getting, are we getting divisional cups, and when is FNCS? I've been getting a lot of questions, so I want to explain it. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Before we talk about the last tournament of the season, we have to talk about the last update we got, and we got some mobility finally added to competitive with one tournament to go. They added the Rift to go and also the grapple gloves. Now, the main reason why they added this, and I know you're already gonna say in the comments, why did they wait until the last season to add mobility? What's the point? It's because of the Star Destroyer bombardment, the giant spaceship that spawns in the sky, and it absolutely griefs your game. It's only in pubs and ranked, but they added the Rift to go and the grapple gloves as a way to kind of get out of the way of the Star Destroyer, but then they still put these items in competitive despite the Star Destroyer not being competitive. Thank God, because if that was in competitive, it would be an absolute joke. And honestly, I really liked this meta with the Rift-to-Goes and the grapple gloves. I don't think it's the best meta ever. I don't think it's super competitive. I don't think I'd want it for FNCS, but for the last Eval Cup, that was the most fun tournament I watched this entire season. Having pros like Rift to go up to height and then land on height with the jetpacks on, and then other players jetpack up. We had Razaru, which is Peterbot's coach, talking about a play that he wanted to pull off with Peterbot, where one of them would then jetpack up to height and then Rift to go them off height, so the two teammates could take it and then beam them out of the sky. Just some crazy cool stuff that would have been fun to see if these items got added earlier. I feel like the majority of the Fortnite player base prefers when there's mobility and competitive, and I hope Fortnite realizes that for the new season. It is a superhero season, so I imagine there will be some kind of mobility. I'll talk about the plan for the new season in a little bit, but I'm hoping Epic do add mobility earlier into that season, because we only had it for one tournament and it was by far the most fun tournament. Now, speaking of the Star Destroyer bombardment, it was originally in pubs and ranked, but Fortnite has decided to take it out of ranked. Now, I know you think, Aussie, who cares? There's only a week left of the new season. Who cares if the giant spaceship is in ranked or not? And I agree. It has almost no impact on anything right now, but it has a big impact on the future of the game. Fortnite in the past have been very reluctant to take things out of ranked that are in pubs. They've always wanted ranked and pubs to be identical, which has caused a lot of issues for the competitive player base. Ranked is meant to be to practice versus better players in a more competitive setting. It's why Nitro season was such a nightmare. A lot of people saying, yeah, the cars are terrible. I get some people like the cars, but just take them out of ranked. If they just took the cars out of ranked earlier in Nitro season, it would have saved so much headache. Everyone was begging for it, and Fortnite just wouldn't do it. If you want to play with all the fun, goofy, crazy items, you play pubs. And if you want to play with the more competitive settings, you want to have Siphon on, and hopefully, you know, the tournament loophole, you play in ranked. Players have been begging for this for years now, and this is a really big step in the right direction. The fact that Fortnite turned the Star Destroyer off in ranked but left it in pubs shows they're separating the two game modes, and that is a very, very big deal. I'm hoping they do this next season, because a lot of times when they add a really goofy item like the sticky grenade launcher, or there's some kind of vehicle in the game that's super overpowered, it kind of feels like you have nowhere to actually practice fighting people in a competitive setting. And it just makes sense. That's what ranked should be. Now, I know ranked is not super competitive. I know it's never going to look like a tournament, but if you want to pretend it's competitive, or if Epic wants to advertise it as competitive, or at least to have some kind of a game mode where you can jump in and at least fight people with the weapons you're going to fight in tournaments, that's what rank should be. So I'm really, really excited to see Fortnite make this step, and I really hope they apply this in the future. There's so many seasons that I guarantee the ranked player base would be so much higher if they just did this earlier. The player base right now, especially the ranked player base, is in the toilet. The Star Wars season hasn't been a lot of people's favorites. That's fine. There's a week left. Hopefully Fortnite made a big bag from it. Hopefully some of that money goes back into competitive, or something that benefits the players. But either way, it's almost over. Don't stress, but this is a very, very good sign for things going forward. Speaking of the new season, I have a lot of you guys asking me what is going on with the new season's tournaments. Is there going to be FNCS, divisional cups, victory cups? What's happening? And now, like always, we don't know exactly what's going on until the new season launches and we get the blog post. As always, I'll make a video for you guys, but there are some very important dates I want to clarify so people know what's going on, because the new season is a little bit weird. So we know we are going into the new season on the 7th. We're going in on the 7th. We have about 3 weeks, a little bit more than 3 weeks, until Epic goes on their summer break from the 30th till the 14th. They're going to be taking a 2-week summer break, only 3 and a bit weeks into the new season. They're coming back from that break only for 3 days, and then FNCS kicks off. This is very important for a few reasons. That means there's only 3 weeks of the new season, essentially, for you to get to whatever rank or division you need to get to play FNCS. So you're going to want to be ready to play the tournament straight away. This actually makes me think that Fortnite might potentially remove the divisional cups or change something to be able to play FNCS. It has been a huge point of complaint from a lot of players that you can only play FNCS if you're in Division 1. It upset a lot of people. Look, most players know they're not going to make it out of opens of FNCS if they can't get to Division 1, but it's still fun to try. It's still fun to play. FNCS used to be a tournament that was open to everyone. You'd play round 1, you'd get knocked out, you'd do your best, try again next season, you'd sit back and watch the pros go at it. But since the divisional system, you just never get a chance to play, and this might be even worse than ever, because in previous seasons, you've had like 5, 6, 7 weeks before FNCS. Now you've only got 3. So if you're Division 3 right now, that means you can only miss 1 tournament. The other 2 you have to place highly in. You need to go from Division 3 to Division 2, then you need to go from Division 2 to Division 1. That's at least 2 tournaments, and they only have time for 3, and they only have time for 3 if they start them straight away, like a few days into the new season. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that means for tournaments. I have a feeling that means Fortnite might change their mind. Maybe they'll open up FNCS to Division 2 or all divisions, or maybe they'll just scrap the divisional cups altogether. There has been a very mixed response to the divisional cups, whether they're good, whether they're bad. I think there's some pros and cons. I think the 2-round qualifiers for Division 1 is kind of pointless. Most of the Tier 1 teams are qualified within the first day, and they just mess around on day 2, W key, and it's not really good practice. We've also got a lot of people who are in Division 1 playing down a division to just farm easier PR because they know they're not going to go up. I do think the 2-day qualifiers is really good for Division 2 and 3 players because it just gives them more games to play, which are stacked and actually feel like a tournament against good players without just getting steamrolled by the Tier 1 pros. I think that is definitely very valid. Unfortunately, Div 2 and Div 3 especially kind of overrun with cheaters, so I'm hoping Epic does something about that. So I don't really know whether divisional cups are a success or a failure right now. It's very hard to tell from the player base. The seasons have been good. The hype around FNCS as far as viewership and player base has been very solid, but I don't know if the divisional cups are a huge hit. It also means that we have a 6-day tournament format, which is the most stacked we've ever had in the history of the game, because we do have 2 days qualifiers and 1-day finals. So the Tier 1 pros between the eval cups and other tournaments going on has been a 6-day format. If they cut one of those days of qualifiers, they can add something else like solo victory cups or something that does have a huge boost in player base that gets a lot of people attending. So I could see Fortnite cutting the divisional cup. They have not been an overwhelming success by any means. There's a lot of people who don't like them, and with this current scheduling, I just don't see how it's going to work. It's also a weird position because, again, in case this isn't clear, Epic never run tournaments during their summer break. That's why I'm saying there's only going to be 3 weeks. Then there's going to be 2 weeks of nothing. Then we go into FNCS. It's going to be really weird for people to try to stay try and stay warmed up, don't get rusty, and don't take a break. When if they do take a break, they're coming straight back into FNCS. The schedule's pretty nuts though, because we go from that FNCS straight into LAN in less than a month, or about a month. It's going to be a very, very hectic schedule. Now, speaking of the last tournament of the season, I know this is a couple days ago. I wanted to film it yesterday, but I had some tech issues. So we had our Eval Cup. Other than the Console Cup, this was the last tournament. And yet again, we had a very spicy off-spawn between Clix and Peterbot at the first order. Now, if you remember how the regular Div Cup finals went, it was 4-2 in favor of Clix. There was a bit of drama around that one. People saying, it wasn't this, it wasn't fair. Peterbot going on stream the next day to say that the jetpacks is what carried Clix's team. So they had a chance to run it back, but there was a spanner in the works. There was another team there. Another team decided to put themselves between Clix and Peterbot, 2 of the absolute titans in the world. And it was none other than Typical Gamer. Typical Gamer made the finals with his trio, Rich Homie Quinn and Ratgun. They decided they were going to go the first order base. This did create a little bit of drama, especially in Clix's community. Clix was not too happy about it. I think he did really want to get another chance to go toe-to-toe with Pete and prove they can hold their own off spawn. But in Typical Gamer's defense, he's been going the first order base all season on NA West. They even went there in finals this week, which they qualified on NA West. It's the only drop they knew, and it's a good chance for them to get some practice against Tier 1 teams fighting off spawn when it is just an Eval Cup in Star Wars season. So I definitely back TG up here. I know a lot of people call it griefing. That's not fair. They're targeting them. I don't think TG is trying to take down Clix or Peterbot for clout. I think my man's doing okay. I think he just wanted to go to the drop spot that he knows. But it did make it a little bit messy. It made it a much less clean spawn fight, and it kind of made it you can't really take the position of the spawn fight, in my opinion, too much to go into anything else going forward. You can't say, oh, Pete beat Clix in this game and Clix beat Pete in that game, because there's 3 teams there. It's one POI. It turned into a lot of splitting and ratting. The first game, Ritual, Pete, and Pollo did come out and get a 12 kill win, and that was game 1. I was like, oh, here we go. This could be crazy. Again, it is worth mentioning, as I just said, Ritual and Pete were not playing with Cold. Cold took this one off. They were playing with Pollo. This win was insane. I don't even know how they won it. I think Pollo died on the second last rotating zone. They managed to like throw him in, tap him in, throw him in, res him. Pete went down to like no health. They managed to both get back up healthy, win the game. It was insane, but that was the last big moment we were going to see from Peterbot or Clix's or Typical Gamers team throughout the rest of the tournament. None of them went on to win another game. Clix's best placement was an 8th. Peterbot's other placements were a 16th, 19th, and 28th, so they didn't really do anything crazy. Typical Gamers team wasn't fighting Pete or Clix that much. They were usually going down the bottom, taking a bit of loot, disengaging. They got a 19th, 24th, 24th, and 25th. So first order base didn't really go well for anyone except for Peterbot in that game 1, but we do have an exciting announcement from Peterbot that he shared on stream today as of me making this video. Peterbot has said he is going to be streaming everything going forward except for scrims and not finals unless he's contested. Now, this might be a little bit of a strange one for a lot of you guys. Why would he stream when contested? Usually most pros do the opposite. They'll stream finals, and if they're contested, they won't stream, not give them advantage. Well, Peterbot loves doing his 4 corner streams. You probably saw this when it was Peterbot versus Clix in the Eval Cup. Pete loves getting photos of the people he's contesting, throwing them on the screen, and a lot of people get kind of confused why he does this, whether he's just being weird, he's just talking smack. It's for a number of reasons. Firstly, it means it gets rid of any information they can gain from Stream Sniper. You can't see his loadout, can't see his health, can't see where he's in the minimap. You don't really know anything, but it then also does have the added effect of Peterbot likes talking smack. It's just what he likes to do. If he likes to stream his off spawns because he likes the drama. It's just what Pete's always done. Again, when his name's as big as Clix, it's going to get messy. We had Clix do his own rendition of the 4 corners. He didn't bring Ritual into it though, but he did get some photos of Pete and Pollo. He ended up taking the photos down at Pollo. He was just kind of aiming at Pete. So things got a little bit spicy. Peterbot has said, however, he will be going the best POI of the season, of the map next season. So whatever the best POI is in the map, and it's a superhero season, I'm guessing we're going to have one that's at least quite strong. That's where he's going. So if he's contested in finals, he'll stream. If he's uncontested, he won't stream. But that means we will now have Peterbot streaming opens of tournaments, which will be extremely exciting to watch. So I'm very excited for that announcement. We'll see if it actually ends up happening. Peterbot has now streamed, I think, 3 or 4 days in a row now. It seems like he really is on his stream grind, and Peterbot hasn't said this in the past. A lot of pros tell me, oh, I'm going to stream everything. I'm getting on my grind. It lasts like 2 days and they give up. Peterbot's never said that before. So I have a bit of hope that he'll actually stick to it, but it should make the NA content very, very spicy. As for the other teams that were able to pick up wins in the Eval Cups, we had Taki, Ishu, and Vert who were able to get a win. They didn't have any other too crazy placements outside of that. We had Barker, Paz, and Pump, our NA West boys. They managed to get an 11 elim win as well. And then Golden, Void, and Ozone got a 5 kill win. Now, I want to give credit to Golden, Void, and Ozone. They've done really well this season, and I've been attributing a lot of that to the Darth Vader lightsaber. It's incredibly strong. They've been going Shogun uncontested all season, but the lightsaber has actually been bugged right now, so they managed to get this 5 elim win without it. So huge shout out to them. Now, moving on over to EU, we had obviously Eval Cup as well. We had Chino, Pablo, and Fred take one of the wins. No other big placement. Then we had Vico, iDrop, and Veno get a 7 kill win. We had Slavic, Mitro get a 10 kill win. And then we had Cringe's team get a 5 kill win. Now, very interestingly, I don't think a single player who got a win had another game inside the top 10. Maybe one other team. Yeah, we had Barker, Paz, and Pump get a 5th and a 1st, but everyone else didn't really get consistent placements like that. So a big sign of this meta not being the most competitive and not being the best meta we've ever had. I am very, very excited for the new season. We do basically have a week of almost nothing now. There is a console victory cup on, but outside of that, there's not really too much happening until the new season. So if you don't see me uploading, don't worry. It's not because I'm not grinding. There's just not too much happening. I'll do a lot of your guys' favorite videos. I'll do a season's wish list. As soon as the new season drops, I'll be dropping a big video on the blog post breaking it down. I'm also going to do a really long stream for the new season. The downtime and the event are really early, which is great. So I'm going to go live in the morning for the event, and I'm going to be live for like 12, 16, 24 hours after that, which is going to be very exciting.